Have you ever seen something like this? Just look at it, a constantly shifting pattern of black and white squares. It almost looks alive, doesn't it? Like some kind of digital ecosystem evolving right before our very eyes. It's messy and chaotic, but at the same time, there's a kind of order to it. This is Conway's Game of Life. And the weirdest part? It's a game with no players, no score, and no real end.
Seeing that chaos really gets you thinking. It poses this incredible question. What if all the complex behaviors we see in the universe don't come from some super complicated instruction manual, but from just a few, almost ridiculously simple rules? So, for this we have to go back to 1970, to a brilliant and, frankly, pretty whimsical mathematician named John Conway. He was totally fascinated by the idea of machines that could build themselves, and he wanted to see if he could create a whole universe with its own physics, right from scratch. He ended up calling it a no-player game.
And the setup? Honestly, it could not be simpler. Just picture an infinite checkerboard. Now, each one of those squares, or cells, can only be in one of two states. It's either alive or it's dead. On or off. That's it. That is the entire foundation for this little digital universe.
Okay, so how do you run this whole system? You'd think Conway would need to write some complex program, right? Nope. Instead, he came up with just 3 super elegant rules that decide the fate of every single cell, generation after generation.
All right, rule number 1 is all about survival. If you're a living cell, you need a little company to make it. Not too much, not too little. So, if you have exactly 2 or 3 living neighbors touching you, congratulations, you survived to the next round.
But on the flip side, a living cell can die in 2 ways. As Conway himself put it, if it has less than 2 neighbors, it dies of isolation, loneliness. But if it has more than 3, it dies from overcrowding, just not enough resources to go around.
And finally, how does new life even start? Well, an empty or dead cell can spring to life, but only if it has exactly 3 live neighbors. Conway playfully said this was like a new cell needing exactly 3 parents to be born.
So you've got these 3 simple rules. You lay down some initial pattern of live cells, you press go, and you just let the rules take over. You would expect to just see random noise, right? A mess of flickering pixels? But that is not what happened. Instead, these organized, persistent structures started to emerge from the chaos.
The simplest things to pop up were what we call still lifes. These are patterns that are perfectly stable. Every live cell has just the right number of neighbors to survive, and none of the dead cells have enough neighbors to be born. They're just locked in place. A perfect, quiet equilibrium forever.
But then things started to get a bit more interesting. The next level of complexity was oscillators. These are patterns that aren't static, they actually repeat a cycle of different shapes. The most famous one is the blinker, which just flips between a horizontal and a vertical line, over and over again, like a tiny, stable heartbeat in this digital void.
But the real breakthrough, the discovery that really changed everything, was a pattern that could actually travel. It could break free from where it started and just glide across the grid forever. Conway and his team called these things spaceships, and the most famous of all is the glider.
Conway himself felt the name glider was maybe a little too grand. He said the little 5-cell pattern looked more like an ant, just walking across the plane, which is just a perfect reminder of the simple, almost organic way these things were being discovered.
Now, discovering the glider was huge, because it proved that information could be sent from one part of the grid to another. And this opened up a possibility that was, well, almost unbelievable. Could this simple game actually think?
And this right here is the Gosper glider gun, which was discovered by a team over at MIT. It's this amazing oscillating pattern that, every 30 generations, just spits out a brand new glider. It was the very first machine ever built inside the Game of Life, a factory that could mass produce those little traveling messengers.
The implications of this were just profound. See, if you can create a steady stream of gliders, you can use them as signals. And pretty soon, researchers proved you could build logic gates, and or not gates, just by smashing these glider streams into each other. And if you can build logic gates, you can build a computer. That means the Game of Life is what's called Turing complete. It can, in theory, compute anything that any computer can.
So let's just pause for a second. A game with 3 simple rules can simulate any computer, create patterns that copy themselves, and generate this infinite, unpredictable complexity. What in the world does that tell us about our own reality?
This really gets to the heart of it, the main lesson from the Game of Life.
The most intricate, the most amazing, and unpredictable systems don't necessarily come from complicated blueprints. They can emerge completely naturally, just when a few simple rules get to run over and over in a big enough space.
And that, of course, leaves us with this final, absolutely staggering thought. When we look around us, from how galaxies formed to how life itself evolved, are we just watching the output of a massive cosmic-scale simulation, one that's governed by a set of simple, elegant rules we just haven't figured out yet? The game of life doesn't give us the answer, but it sure shows us it's a question worth asking.